June was a month of some pretty high highs and some pretty low lows. I found a new comedy thriller that I really liked, but then I also had to DNF a series that I have been following for a really long time. So let's get into the books. First up, I'm starting to worry about this Black Box of Doom. If you haven't seen my full review on this one yet, I will link it in the cards at the end and in the description box down below. I thought it deserved its own little video. If you didn't watch my review already, it is about these two main characters who are paid by this rich man to carry this black box across the United States, and they couldn't tell anyone where they were going. They couldn't have any traceable devices. And one of the main characters, he wasn't allowed to ask what was inside of the box. At some point in the book, the box becomes a metaphor for how we have become obsessed with the internet and like modern outrage culture in general, how it affects our mental health and the relationships that we have with other people. This is kind of what I got from the book anyway. I certainly recommend reading this book. I actually found this standalone novel because I accidentally started reading the third book in his series, John Dies at the End. So I did go back. I got the books that I needed for that series that I was missing, and then I found the Box of Doom book. And then I realized that he has another book coming out in November that adds on to the John Dies at the End series, so I do need to catch up on that. Next in the June list is Dear Debbie by Frida McFadden. I do love a good psychological thriller, which is why I am not going to tell you to read this book. Since I don't remember enough of this book to give a full review on it, I wanted to at least give some insight from some people on Goodreads. It did get a 3.96 review, which is decent. There are a lot of 5 and 4-star reviews on this. Here's one from Nikos, 5 stars. What in the Desperate Housewives meets unfiltered female rage did I just read? Ashlyn, someone book Miss Frida a flight to the Bahamas because my girl needs a vacation. SK says, 2 stars. Everyone in this book needs therapy. Emily May, 1 star. I won't read this entire thing. I gave Frida McFadden 3 tries, and I can now conclude it's not meant to be. Despite my desperate attempts to join the fan wagon, I just don't get the popularity of these books. Short chapters, I suppose, and very easy to read, but utterly ludicrous and hinged on at least 10 different coincidences. Okay, maybe that's the part. Okay, I really do agree with that. You have to, there have to be a lot of coincidences for these things to play out the way that they do. So maybe that is part of it. I do agree with you, Emily. Maybe not 1 star, but I do agree. 4 stars by Hamika, Women in Male-Dominated Fields. That's always nice. See, there are a mix, so you decide for yourself, but in my opinion, I'm just not that into it. Since that one did not really work for me, I wanted to leave you with a recommendation for a psychological thriller that I really did enjoy, which was False Memory by Dean Koontz. He also writes another really good one. It's called TikTok. False Memory is a psychological thriller about a therapist who manipulates his patients, and TikTok is kind of more of a sci-fi-ish thing where this guy has to live until daylight while the psycho doll tries to kill him. But those are a couple of really good psychological thrillers that I enjoyed myself and would recommend for you. Now, I said at the beginning of this video that I have DNF'd a series that I've been following for a really long time. I'm super into murder mysteries, and I've been following Alex Sigmore's Emily Slate series. I'm on book number 17 now. I believe she has another one coming out for the series soon, and I will not be reading it, unfortunately. I have enjoyed it a lot. It follows this FBI agent, Emily Slate, who you will follow along with all of the jobs that she does in the FBI, but also there's this other part of the book where she's trying to figure out who killed her husband or how her husband died, because things just weren't adding up. And you have this whole side personal history thing behind the scenes, and then her job. It's great. its pacing has always been great up until these last two books that I read, The Passage and The Fire in the Sky. I honestly felt like time was going by so slowly when I was reading the books. There was action, but like not enough action. The pacing just wasn't the same as the rest of her books were before, and I'm not quite sure why, or maybe the next book will be a little bit faster paced kind of thing. Maybe it's just like maybe it's supposed to be this way. If you've ever read a series for a long time and it started losing its magic slowly, how did you deal with that? Did you go back to that series eventually and realize that it was kind of a you thing, or did you just never look at it again? It makes me feel sad. So that was my June. One new favorite, one major pass, and one really sad goodbye to a long-running series. Who knows? Maybe I'll go back to it. Maybe I'll give it a second chance. But what was your favorite book that you read in June? And if you haven't read any of the ones that I just mentioned, will you be reading any of them? We can chat in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.